people watching us. Um, just talking to Scott. He said he's been to Wizard World. So how that went with you meeting your writer for your super extendo. Oh goodness sakes!
What?
I have to turn me off on the YouTube. There we go. We're good now.
I do the same thing. My page is sideways. Hang on, I'm gonna see if I can fix this.
Okay.
I for anyone that is watching this, I have broken the lamp. Before I was just clamping my phone to the lamp. That's how high tech we are over here. And I broke that particular lamp, which I'd had. It was a Lux. You know what a Lux lamp is, Ellis?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sure. That's what I
It,
think everybody uses. I've got those little gooseneck lamps, or not gooseneck. Well, like you say, those Lux lamps. They're the ones with the one joint in them.
yep. Yeah, and it had a. Whoa.
Careful.
Good.
That could go viral easily.
Yeah, it had a round fluorescent light and an incandescent light in the middle. And so the theory is that would give you better. Sorry about that. A better light, more natural light. And it seemed to work. But anyway, it broke. I'd had it for
Well,
at least 30. It was at least 30 years old.
sure. Well,
I
all these guys that are you know doing these things in their own little home studios, they're always fun little kludged up systems. Oh, you're talking about your writer.
Well, no, I'm
Oh,
talking
what are you
about.
talking about?
But anyway, so I went to Wizard World Tulsa and I met. Now the writer I'm working with is a guy named Greg Wright, and it was and I never met him face to face. We had worked together just because the publisher put us together, and
But never met.
I never met. I talked to him on the phone multiple times, but and that works pretty good. Now I can just get around to the draw. Anyway, I wanted to meet him because, like I said, I always feel like you're less likely to get fired off a project if you meet the people face to face. You know, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's how
You
I
put
feel.
so much pro bono into this project to fire you would be quite a shocker.
No, yeah, I'm not going to get fired. But I mean, I've done. You say that, but I've done a ton of work on projects not gotten
Well,
done.
projects can just fold their tent, yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't think anybody's going to fire you.
Not well. Yeah. And I think what happens a lot of times in these comic projects is people go into it with real good intentions,
Sure.
and when you're trying to break in, you'll grab at anything, because you want that you want to take that chance that something's going to be a big thing, and you don't have a bunch of choices, so you'll take the choices that are offered to you.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's something that maybe and I think I don't believe I've ever worked with anyone that's gone in it maliciously. There was one guy that I worked with that went in it and told me he had a connection at a publisher, at a comic publisher. Let me clarify that. And they had okayed his script, and he just needed to get the first issue drawn. And I drew the cover. I even paid for the cover to be colored out of my own pocket. And the guy basically, I emailed the guy, and he's like, never got back with me.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sort of thing is. I noticed a guy that was following me on Twitter, and it said
Yeah.
one of his credits was Chromium Man. One of my biggest burns that ever occurred to me was now he didn't do it because a woman did it to me, whoever she was. I'm tempted to DM the guy since I think he follows me too, and ask him all about Chromium Man. But that was something where I put a lot of effort into it and just got told, no thanks.
I did a deal one time, one of my first jobs, that I never got paid for, and I was supposed to get paid. Now I've done plenty of work that I go into it knowing I'm not making any money, you
Well, yeah,
know.
I mean, if you're in comic
And
books, you better know you're not making any money anyway.
yeah, well, yeah. Even if you think you're making money, you may not be making money.
Yeah,
But some projects you go in and you're promised a page rate, and some of them it's a cut of the profits.
yeah. If you're
Well,
promised something, you should get it. Yeah,
right. Oh, absolutely. And I'm in a couple of Facebook groups that are artists, and people will come in and they'll want something basically for free, and people really berate them, and I have a problem with that. Not really. And I mean, don't get me wrong, man. I mean, I think you should get paid, but if somebody comes along and says, "Hey, I need this drawn and I'm not paying," well, you don't have to do that,
right.
you know. And I don't think that is necessarily a negative. Some deals are better than the page rate, you know, because of
Yeah,
whatever. I mean, I'm not getting a page rate on this, but I own half of it. And I've met the publisher. Publishers I mean, this book is going to get published when I get it done. So I think you should take the best opportunity you have, and if someone's offering something that you don't like, don't take it. But you don't necessarily have to, warn other people, or people get really indignant because they feel like. Well, I think people feel like an artist working for free is taking money from them, which I don't know. I mean, I think there are some projects that if people had to pay would never get done. They had to pay up front. This book wouldn't get done. I guarantee you, the writer doesn't have the money to pay me up front.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of things. It's Adam Carolla talks about this a lot, where you really need to not fret too much about the money early on in a lot of this entertainment stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of startups on game guys. There, it's like you know, store up your money wherever you are making it, because you may find something very attractive that requires that if you want to be in on it, in terms of like being a full-fledged guy that's going to have a part of some company and some app developer or something like that, that might cost you going without a paycheck for quite a while.
Yeah.
And most people can't bear that. They they're living in something like California or something. You tell
Oh,
somebody,
yeah.
well, you probably aren't going to get paid for a while. It's like, okay, I guess I'll just eat for a while then. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's no problem.
yeah,
Bridge. Yeah, I get that. But so I was working on this one book, and it was it was a superhero thing, and they contacted me and they needed an artist for the second issue. And I was like, okay, that's cool, and I didn't really ask what happened to the first issue's artist. I got the impression there was some sort of falling out. So I drew it, and the writer was sending me the script as he finished it, and
mm-hmm.
so I was working on, I do, and literally sending me like a few pages a week. And so, um,
Yeah. Oh, you went black, Scott. I have no idea why he went black, but he did, and so that story was interrupted. We'll see if he wants back in at some point. I'm not sure what happened. I had someone. I noticed someone in my.
hello?
Hey, there you are. Something went wrong. You went black.
Oh, I got a phone call.
Okay.
They'll probably call me back too because I thought I hung up, but I think I answered. Anyway, so I got this offer to do the second issue of this book, and they mailed me the first issue, and they were sending me. I don't know if you heard this or not. They were sending me a page every couple of weeks, a page of script every couple of weeks, or something like that. A couple pages every week or something. It was really drawn out, and so I was getting kind of frustrated. Well, we got towards the end, and they introduced a new character, and so they said, "Well, you got to design this character," and they basically want him to look exactly like Power Man, from the like Power Man and Iron Fist, the black guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I was doing it, and I didn't want him to look like him that much, but they kept, oh, changing to this, changing to this, changing to this. And so then finally they go, well, you know what? We're going to have somebody else draw that. It was like the last 2 pages of the book. It was like one of those, like a flash forward or something,
Hmm.
Meanwhile, and and then he just never got back with me. I'm like, well, crap. So, and I couldn't get hold of him and that sort of thing. So the, so so a couple years later, I went to Wizard World Chicago of all places, and I'm walking around Artist Alley and I'm looking at this guy's pages, and I go, "Holy crap! He drew issue 2, the issue I was supposed to draw." And so I asked the guy about. I said, "Well, what is this?" I said, "I think I may have worked on part of this book." And the guy was like, "Oh yeah," and it was the guy. I think he had drawn issue 1, and he said that the writer had contacted him and said, "Well, I'm having trouble with my new artist. Can you fit in this?" And he said he drew it, and he said the art. The one thing that kind of burned me was he said the writer gave him my pages as like layouts, and so then but then he said that the guy never paid him, and the book never got published. So I felt okay about that. That made it okay.
So you came
Uh,
along and this guy had those as original pieces of art, huh?
yeah, I saw they were in his portfolio. What's funny on the flip side is I
And
had
he made no money either.
yeah, he didn't get paid either.
Jeez.
Well, yeah, what's funny about the deal is, I mean, this was several years afterwards. I had what I considered much better stuff in my portfolio after that. In fact, that was the convention that I made the cut, so I got to talk to the editor at Marvel and all that kind of stuff. And so I felt like I was better off because this was like what this guy was showing his portfolio, and he had done it like a couple of years before that. You know,
Yeah.
but I did that. Let's see, I did that. I mean, the absolute worst. In fact, well, you're not on Facebook. I was posting it on Facebook today because it popped
Yeah.
up. I did a comic, or I did an anthology, and I penciled and lettered and inked it, and the writer was kind of, let's just say he was kind of odd, and when I got done, he he sent it to his colorist to color for this anthology. Well, he sends me I get the PDFs, and she has gone in and re-inked and literally like redrawn a bunch of my
Oh,
pages,
I
a bunch
remember
of my
that.
paint.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, dude, I was hot when I saw that.
Yeah, I've had that.
Uh,
I showed you my counter thing where someone, and what can you do? Someone took something that they're going to pay you for and turned it upside down and shook it and changed it totally. And what can you say? Well, thanks for the paycheck.
Well, yeah. See, I didn't get paid for that anthology. And what's
Oh,
funny is, and see, I thought it would be a good opportunity. That's what made it worse, is because I thought it'd be a good opportunity to, get. It was supposed to be like a high profile kind of deal, and it just never, and I thought that she really changed the art and stuff. I mean, she literally like redrew panels, and she didn't even attempt to make it look like it fit in. It was just like, nope, and I kind of wonder if the writer had asked her to do it or
well, yeah, I remember
what.
that. It was pretty jarring in a couple of cases. Some of her little editorial additions to it. Yep.
Yeah, and the and what's funny is, okay, so that was 2 years ago, almost like exactly 2 years ago. Like I said, this popped up on my Facebook, so it was 2 years ago as like, your memories or whatever. Well,
Yeah.
I took that to New York Comic Con, and using those pages, I got this job that I'm working on now. This publisher liked them enough to get me work. Well,
A
what's
star
funny?
storyteller is our audience again.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I just
I,
wanted to tell you that. Yeah, go ahead.
no,
I didn't mean to take you out of your story too much,
no,
but I
no, no.
wanted to acknowledge her.
Oh yeah, no, it'll take more than that to derail me, man.
Okay.
So, while I was in New York at New York Comic Con, I was talking to an editor at Marvel, and I showed him those pages, and I said, yeah, and I said, I've done a work in a lot of anthologies, and I said, how do you get? I can't seem to get any traction. And this editor said, nah, don't work in anthologies. He said, if you want to get noticed in comics, he said editors don't pay attention to anthologies, and there's so many people in them that it just doesn't make any sense to nobody notices anthologies. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, you know. So, and then immediately I go from that to getting offered this job. So I mean, all's well and that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, that's what I would hope happens for you on that one. That one seems like it's just got some of the best opportunity for you thus far.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it will
It
definitely get
stretches.
published.
It couldn't be. You couldn't ask for anything to stretch you more because drawing women is to where they're presentable looking and all that is probably the comic book guy's biggest challenge.
Yeah,
Anybody can draw gnarly old guys, but having to draw women is always going to be their challenge. And the guys that, of course,
yeah.
do it really well, the Adam Hughes of the world,
Oh yeah.
they stand out.
Oh, absolutely.
But of course, now the controversy now is that women shouldn't be drawn certain ways and shouldn't be
Yeah,
drawn with certain tropes of how guys like to exaggerate this and that, which is
yeah.
all a bunch of nonsense. But I guess it's not nonsense to the extent that little Will Eisner's black sidekick for the Spirit. I forget his name, but that guy,
Oh yeah.
there's no saying, well, I like cartooning like this. I'm old school, whatever.
Yeah.
You just can't dig that out of your pack and say, okay, now I'm representing this fella here, enjoying
Yeah.
him. Yeah,
Yeah. This is my take.
yeah, you can't do that. You just
Well,
literally can't do it. It's
but I
it's
think the
weird though,
difference
because
is,
I come from my generation. Of course, they were kind of looking for fights, like they're looking for fights nowadays. You had Hell's Angels kind of guys and hippies that were wearing Maltese Falcons, and you had people confronting them and telling them, saying, "You realize you're wearing Nazi regalia." And
Oh yeah.
it's like, okay, so what, old man,
Yeah.
or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
It's like a part of my statement. And of course, my generation, they got to make the statement. They got to get away with murder. So, but nowadays,
Yeah.
you don't get away with murder.
Well, I would say a couple things about that. One is
Okay.
the regarding the stereotypes. I can't remember the character's name in the Spirit. I know what you're talking about. I
I
know
can look him
exactly
up.
it doesn't matter, and we may get Pillroy just for naming him. He
Yeah.
probably has a racist sounding name, but the argument can be made that that is a stereotype that does not exist. Black people do not look like that character.
Yeah, yeah.
You
They
know what I'm
don't.
saying?
They don't. Ebony.
That
Yeah,
is not what
Ebony
black.
White. Ebony White.
That was his name. Oh,
That was his
jeez.
name.
But that's not what black people look like. Now that was a at the time acceptable at the time stereotypical cartoon. But to say that women in comic books, while they're exaggerated, men are too, but to say that women don't look like the women in comic books. Now, some women do. you know, I mean,
You have to
certainly.
take
I
a.
mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. No, no. It's a.
It's not a.
Genetic favoritism is out there.
Yeah,
It exists, and it's like get over it. I'm over it. In terms of like, I'll never
well,
be Sean Connery, and
it's,
I'm not.
it,
I'm not going to just continue to lament the fact. You know. So
yeah. I mean, all I'm saying is one stereotype is acceptable because that is what people actually look like,
yeah,
and also the other thing is it's not based out of I'm going well. I don't know. I was gonna say it's not based out of wanting to harm women, but some people would argue that you know.
yeah. It's it, but the armed camp effect is what you don't want. You don't want people coming after you in ways that are like very lifestyle distracting. You don't want
Yeah. Oh, I'd agree with that.
you don't want lawsuits. There's one guy, and people would probably that I know during a certain time of my life will know exactly who I'm talking about probably, and I could name him because his name is right. Unlike most of the time when I'm talking about stuff, I actually have the guy's name on the tip of my tongue, but I'm not going to give it out because
Yeah, gotcha.
he was a guy that was a hair trigger about suing people, and he was hair trigger about suing people because he had a sister who was a that sort of lawsuit. That's how she
Oh,
did her living, and so it was nothing for him to talk, give her a complaint that turned into a very real lawsuit. And
didn't
boy,
expect.
you don't want to be around that sort of person, you know.
No, because it's like, hey, I'm on your side, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You try to find out how he feels that day, you know. You don't want that.
Yeah. So what's on Drawn and Quartered tonight?
Apparently, I've placed myself in the green room again, and the last time I did it, I wasn't part of it, so I may not be
Oh,
part
you
of it
weren't?
again. Yeah.
I thought you were part of last,
No,
or was
no.
it 2 weeks ago?
Last time was what was last time? I forget. When you're not a part of, oh, it was She-Hulk. I did my own
Oh, were you not part of
quickie
She-Hulk?
version of it. I wasn't part of She-Hulk. And this
How did?
time it's Rambo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you know.
How did you determine that you're not part of it? Is it just like luck of the draw, or?
Well, it's like once it fills up, if you put yourself in the green room, even though toward as it was coming up, I probably could have put myself thrust myself forward to say yes to it, but there was another couple of guys that haven't been on as much as I have. So I said, no, 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 please. And I meant this
Okay.
when I said it. It's work. If you get on there,
Well,
I mean,
sure.
it's a lot of work. And usually
Oh, I'm,
usually I'm tired by that time when that show rolls around. So it's like,
yeah, they do it late too, don't they?
yeah. I mean, they're doing it to Mike Miller's comfort level, and he's out in California. And of course,
Oh,
Edwin is even more comfortable with it all. He's in Hawaii, so it's like more like 4 o'clock to him, or
oh man, it's like
it's just getting
night
to be his
afternoon
evening.
gig.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean
Well, okay. So if you're not on the show, will they still auction off your art, or is it like, oh, sorry, dude?
well, the auction has become dicey too. Mm, uh, Edwin seemed to Edwin Boyette seemed to take over for it last time. I didn't get any sort of link to it, so I didn't get on. And so
Really?
that may be the new status. And everything, appreciate everything because it might go away. So
Yes, I agree with that. Well, it's a nice little extra bonus paycheck for you for a while, wasn't
yeah,
it?
for a while we'll see if it comes back in some way again. And right now, the big thing I don't know the details about it. Mike Miller is revved up about something or other, and he's
Oh, really?
he's doing his he's doing a I'm definitely not confiscated anymore kind of thing, and
Oh, yeah.
it's getting a back and forth between him and Ethan, Van Sciver that I've
Oh,
watched a
really?
little bit of. Yeah. So talk about something. Here we got Doug
Hmm.
totally stomping out, saying, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, keep it." He had no interest in it by the time he quit, and then, of course, all the people that I'm following because I just did following, a lot of clicking and following on people that you could you knew were part of this kind of indie comic stuff. They start piling on because of their opinions about what Doug or Mike have gotten out of it, and they're being ingrates and all that kind of stuff. Well,
Oh,
all this
gosh.
stuff is just kind of on like a interpersonal relationship kind of basis, really. It's like, look, this guy has decided we're we were a bad match, in terms of like,
Oh, yeah.
especially on these on the social media stuff. Jeez, how can you even
Oh,
start to
yeah.
sort all that out? So whatever's going
Yeah.
on there, like I say, details you can't get them from me because I don't know the details. 'Cause,
Gotcha.
it's hard to sort out
Well,
what the hell is going on.
that's,
And I doubt, and typically on these drawn and quarters, they say, oh well, we don't want to talk about that, and they just get down to business and drawing. So
oh,
even if I show up tonight, I'll be no further educated about it.
that's okay. I don't know. I'm pretty much a live and let live kind of guy.
Yeah, most people are. But the deal is, there's a lot of people that like to weigh in and tell you what you were thinking. There's all these mind
Yeah.
readers. There's a lot of mind readers out there that want to tell you everything that's wrong with you, and
Yep.
you need to get your mind right.
You're just not thinking right, Ellis.
Yep.
So, anything else happen on the? I even hesitate to mention this on the robbery front.
No, no. There's never going to be anything come of it in terms of resolution in any way, unless someone wants to call me and brag about having it stole from me.
Well, I didn't know if
Uh,
they'd returned. Are you putting your car in the garage now at least?
Oh yeah, yeah. That does make me feel better about that. And
Yeah.
I got my price for my internet lowered by letting them put in this faux security system that Cox Cable does, which is just basically your own home monitoring system with a smart app. But it apparently is something they do for free through the FCC, which is, you know, heck, it lowered my internet,
There you
and
go.
cost nothing extra as part of the package. So right now I have, for the first time, I've got a little Wi-Fi loose in the house. That is,
So you got Wi-Fi in your house now?
yeah, I've got Wi-Fi, and I have to get a smartphone now. Man, I just had a great.
I like how you say have to.
Oh yeah, I have to. I have to find somebody to sell me a smartphone. I went to the Sprint store and walked out of it after it was pretty obvious I'll go earlier tomorrow. But it was pretty obvious
Oh yeah.
that it was too busy to get anybody's
Me
attention
too.
in the time frame I wanted to.
I didn't know you were so busy, Ellis.
Oh well, I just didn't. I don't like to leave the house empty. I like to
Oh,
get out
gotcha.
for not much more than an hour anymore. Until I've got that totally working, I want at least to be able to nail their imagery. You know, I want to say these guys did it. You know.
Yeah. Well, did I tell you about my neighbor? I don't think I did. The house next door to me is for sale, right?
Right.
And so I went over there, and I was during the open house. I wanted to see I'd been in the house before they moved in, and so I went in there and I noticed he had taken two big eyelets on screws and screwed them right into the door frame. And I mean, the metal on that was as big as round as your index finger, and they
Yeah.
were across from each other. I think what he was doing is sticking like a metal bar through there at night or whatever.
Trying to keep.
Well, I guarantee you nobody's kicking that door in. You know. Anyway, I don't know if you consider doing something like that, some sort of physical. Just a thought. I don't know what you do.
Yeah.
You could.
I'm checking the Twitter right now just for real quick, see if we've started a preliminary listing of people going to be on.
Oh,
No, it doesn't look like it.
doesn't look like they've started the list, or it doesn't look like you're on it.
It doesn't look like they've started the list yet.
Okay.
So I'm kind of happy with this little technique. I drew into a Xerox of what I call just shapes, where I was really just splashing almost paint down with a brush pen, and then just draw into them. And now I'll be able to pencil that tomorrow. I think I'll do another one just like it.
I'm looking at the feed on my iPad, which is a little bit behind, of course.
Yeah.
But what's that story? Is that guy walking in midair?
This is actually, yeah, that guy is running at a big clip, so I can lower those speed if that's
Oh, I see what
completely
you. Okay.
bugs the guy that he's just really making time down the corridor, and he's got a phantom after him. And this is the one
Okay.
that's based on our short about the guy that answers the phone and tries to return it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I haven't asked her today, but it looks like Michelle's work is going to move. They were looking at new places, and Michelle said somebody came by and looked at their office twice.
Star Storyteller is saying, "Oh well, yeah, well I will miss that place." Gosh, seems like such a shame
Yeah.
to. Of course, if something is just like if something could be making you money, And
Yeah,
it's,
that's
it's
the
just
thing.
sitting there waiting for you to say, just say when. Say when. I'm ready to
Well,
make you money.
well, that's the thing is he wants to buy another place, another building, and move the business to that, and uh, then they would rent out that building. But it all depends on if he can rent that building out at the price, make it worthwhile. But I mean, you saw it. I mean, you've been there. It's too
Oh yeah.
big for they're not using a third of it.
Oh yeah. It's a lot of null space. Yeah.
But it's a cool location, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
It's not the office in the world, but it's pretty nice. Yeah.
Star storyteller, who is our only audience, says, "I'm trying to learn how to draw men." So I mean, yeah, but that's true. I mean, if you can draw the human figure, you can really turn around and draw just about anything. Even though
Well,
you'll always
I
find,
think
challenges saying, "Man, how come I can't draw horses or whatever?" And it does take a little
yeah,
sit down and study. But usually
you
something
got to
like
learn the form.
having a drawn like horses versus people, there you learn that there's such a thing as comparative anatomy, and that we've all got the
Yeah,
same kind of like muscles going to bone, pretty much the same way.
yeah. Mechanically, it's all the same.
Yeah,
Different sizes and
yeah,
proportions.
oh yeah. And
Well,
you can have differences that are like, where's the collarbone on four-legged critters? Because I think they don't have one in most cases.
yeah, I don't think they do. Hang
Yeah.
on just a second. I'm gonna grab some.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, star storyteller. Women can. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Women can look like comic book characters because they work their butts off. Oh, I've seen some women doing some hard workouts in the gym, getting those great
Yeah.
physiques. And boy, I tell you what, the one I saw was being brought to tears by her trainer. She was hurting. I mean, it's not easy
Okay,
to
so
get
if you
that
want,
body.
okay, I'm back.
Okay.
So this this is my sketchbook. And first off, I've drawn a ton of this kind of stuff, which is just figures, and I've kind of built in my head what oh, I forget the guy, called the general model of the figure, which is basically a simplified figure. Um, but what I did, this is what I did. This is glued in the back of my sketchbook. I have this. Oops, I don't know if you can see all that.
Oh yeah,
It's a
yeah, yeah,
piece of
sure.
paper. It's a piece of paper that what I did is I went online and this is all drawn by John Byrne. So I went online and I found this drawing from one of his sketchbooks, and I was like, that's a good figure. I mean, I like those proportions. That's good superhero proportions.
Right.
And so then what I do is I'd have my sketchbook and I copy it. I got a girl next to her. Then I got a couple that I've copied in different motions. I got one here where he's kind of simplified it, but that helped me. Now I studied this in addition to a bunch of anatomy stuff, and so that helped me figure out. Um, it wasn't learning the anatomy, and I don't know what you're trying to do, but I wanted to learn how to draw what I call heroic anatomy.
Right.
And so that's kind of what I did, and that helped me. Was basically finding. And I felt like John Byrne was a guy that's really good at it, but there are other people that are pretty good at it too. Find something that appeals to you, somebody whose work appeals to you, that you like their proportions, and and that's what I did. It just basically just copied it, and it kind of sinks in after a while. A lot of it is just mileage,
Yeah, yeah. Copying people is the best learning tool. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
someone asked for just one of these super polls on Twitter. So just the question: what are your three comic book artists? And I answered just off the top of my head right there. Of Corbin, Magnola, and Kirby. So I guess
Oh yeah.
without even thinking about it, that was pretty easy for me to arrive at that. And I mean, there's other artists I've liked in my life. I've liked a lot of artists that none of them that really said to the world, look at these comics. This is what I do is comic books, and to where I responded in the same way that I say thanks for all that hard work. All these comic books. There's other people that like things like superhero stuff. Right there, by choosing those three. Well, now Kirby bringing up the rear there, he could easily be put at the front, and he does superheroes, but
He does
the other
everything.
two, Manoa and Corbin, I obviously kind of gravitate toward guys that just a little bit more off beat, took their own off the beaten path kind of way. And Wrightson would be another guy that is more like a guy that's not, as a matter of fact, Wrightson trying to do superheroes looks wrong. He was made for other kinds of
Yeah.
storytelling.
Yeah, I would agree with that, except for maybe the Shadow.
Yeah, the Shadow was great. Michael Kaluta.
That's more a pulp character.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and that's the thing, is a lot of it, what I like depends on what the genre they're drawing, for sure. I don't know. I've looked long and hard at artists I like and tried to figure out what do they have in their work that I like, and a lot of it comes down to how they draw the figure. And it's funny you mentioned Kirby. I mean, obviously I like Kirby, but I honestly, even though he is a superhero artist, obviously, I think his superhero work is really his not his strongest stuff. I think I'm more.
Oh yeah, he's more of a gangster guy and
I think his Western stuff is where
yeah,
he
his
really
Western
shines.
stuff is really good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I think it's like, okay, this guy's. I just think that's what he's really good at. That's.
No, I think you called it there. He was really good at cowboy stuff, and that is good. Yeah, and his mythology stuff is good. Yeah, when he is doing mythological type of heroes, he's not really truly doing superheroes so much as he's doing, fairy tales. Really. In a way, it becomes What's that?
Well, I was going to say, I'm not that crazy about it. I like the imagery, but I don't. There's nothing about his New God stuff that really makes me go, oh man, I wish I could draw like this. I'm not crazy about the squared off figures, from the New Gods. I think his 60s stuff is about his best, and I think he put more work into his westerns. You can see he like his cities and stuff. They're cool looking, but they're not really. I don't know. And his like Thor, I think, was hampered by his inker. Well, what's his face? Was it Vinnie Coletta or Vince Coletta?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that was one of his inkers, I think.
No, I think he hampered his. I think he hampered his Thor, because the Thor had a lot of like background detail and stuff.
Yeah, I noticed the way I described it when I was, because I inked on 11 by 17 paper a page of Kirby's the other day using my light table, and I just inked it up with ballpoint pens, and I got so much out of it in terms of like opening my eyes to how his abstract got a little closer to his abstraction and how he works when he is thinking about a building. And they're very much kind
Yeah.
of like there's a fine artist called Modrian that just does, little squares and
Yeah.
arrangements of geometry. And I thought that's all Kirby's doing there. Is
Yeah.
he smacks out a whole bunch of abstract geometry and makes it work as architecture. And
Yeah. It works, but it's not a building. I mean, it's not a realistic building.
well, he's got it. I mean, he lived long enough and observed long enough that it's still got the flavor of what New York looks like.
Yeah. I mean, it
It's got
works.
architectural detail that does exist.
Yeah, but he's not pulling out a book and
No. He's not going to slow down
not
that much.
no. Yeah, no. Um, yeah,
This is a good notion.
there's a painter who did a lot of realism in the '60s, and he did like urban landscapes named Richard Estes, and he
Yeah,
did that. He would paint, and that was in color, but he would do blocks of color, and it was really. I got a couple books on it. It's just really cool stuff.
yeah, that is amazing. I look at some of these guys that do these big fat tiles of color, and they're totally
Yeah,
content not to carve it up any more than that. And that's and you look at it in thumbnail form, and it's like, man, that looks real. And then you get close to it, and it's like big old squares and stuff. It's fun. I mean, the eye likes finishing that kind of thing. To have something
yeah,
left out.
yeah.
Let's see, 7:45. I guess we can talk another few minutes. And
Sure.
I titled this "Sexy Beast." Have you ever seen "Sexy Beast"?
No,
It's
no.
it's one of those
I don't know what that is.
it's one of those English gangster movies like Lock, Stock and Barrel and
Uh,
Snatch, that sort of thing. And those are just and the long Good Friday. I think that's what it's called.
the long. I don't think I've heard of that.
Oh, that's got Bo Hopkins in it. Guy that was in Roger Rabbit.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask if it was
Bo Hoskins, is it? Maybe I don't know.
Oscar.
Maybe it is
No,
Hoskins.
that is.
I
Yeah,
could
it's probably
look it up, make sure I had it right. But those kind of
Robert.
English, yeah.
That's my guess.
Okay, Robert. Well, I'll look it up just so we know what we're talking about.
Might as well be complete. I can't get the chat to pull up for some reason.
Hmm. Bob Hoskins. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I said Robert. That's
Yeah.
close.
Yeah. You were right. But you probably could have called him Bill too, because it's Robert William Hoskins.
Oh, there you go.
But I don't know where I got Bo from. I guess because Bo is Bo Hopkins, who is the guy that was in a couple of Sam Peckinpah movies, the Killer Elite and the one that is considered his masterpiece. The Wild Bunch. Couldn't think of it.
Sorry, I got knocked out again. Same person called me back.
Oh, you did? Did you go totally black? I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I went totally.
Oh, there you
black.
went. Yeah, there you go. But you're back now.
I'm back.
Anyway, this movie, Sexy Beast, it's got a guy named Winstone in it, Ray Winstone, and it's got the guy that played Gandhi in it as a gangster that just won't take no for an answer, and he's just incredible. What is his name? I got to look it up now. He's got a knighthood. I don't know his name, I guess.
A knighthood? Well, you're not
Yeah.
British, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't place a lot of stock in that kind of thing.
Yeah, but that means you're probably supposed to be known by everybody.
Well, everybody in England.
Yeah.
I think if I lived in England, that whole system would drive me crazy.
Yeah. Ben Kingsley. Ben Kingsley is Don Logan. And it's got good old Ian McShane from Deadwood in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've never seen Deadwood.
Oh, really? Wow. Ian McShane is that bartender in Deadwood. Man, that's pretty memorable stuff. Deadwood, the main bartender that is manipulating his way to fortune in Deadwood. He's quite a character. A lot of cursing in Deadwood. Most people would bounce right
Oh,
off of it if they are very sensitive to cursing at all in their entertainment. But Deadwood has got quite a heart. It's got some great writing in it. That's the main thing to watch it for.
oh yeah. That's if you're in the entertainment business that requires writing, then
Yes,
good
our
luck closing.
storyteller came along with the name for me if I'd been paying attention. Ben Kingsley is
Uh,
correct.
Now, was he in? He was in Iron Man 2, 3. Is that the same guy?
May have been. I don't know. I don't remember. All these guys aren't too proud to pick up some of that Marvel money.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the ones that can't want it.
Yep.
Well, if they offered me a spot, I'd do it. I'd do it. Take the money and run.
Oh yeah.
Still, most of the people that don't need the money. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
I
know.
don't
It'll be.
know.
Yeah, I
You
guess.
see all these guys
I don't.
selling their houses that they, why do you sell your dream home unless it's like all of a sudden you look at your bottom line and you say, well, no, I can't really afford the taxes on this anymore. And you sell it.
Oh gosh, we were talking about property taxes at work today. What a racket!
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And it just
You
they
know.
just continue to go up.
Well, that's what I was telling. That's what I said. I said, people in Oklahoma act like, oh, we're not taxed. Debt. Played the Mandarin. I knew it. uh, but it's not. It's not. It's different because it's like property taxes and it's sales taxes and some of that kind of thing in Oklahoma.
Yeah, and they do slide those around.
Oh, geez, yeah.
And
Uh,
some of these things well, we don't have state income tax down in Texas. I believe they get you exactly that way. I believe their property taxes are considered pretty high.
yeah. Someone at work this may interest you. Someone at work was telling me if you're a certain age, your property taxes you can file to get them reduced.
I think I've
I don't
done
know if
that.
you
I'm
looked.
not sure. I think I have done that. Maybe I haven't. I should look into it if I haven't.
Yeah, if you hadn't done it, it might be something to
Save a
save a
couple
little
bucks
dough.
here or there. Yeah.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
buy new guns.
Yeah. New guns. That's funny. That was almost mind reading, Scott. Because I was about to say the money that I'm looking at spending, I really don't want to cough up the $400 for the gun I want, which is a pump action slide, pump action 410 made by
Yes,
Shockwave.
property taxes are theft.
Yep.
Yes, especially if you own property. Well, and man, when you do freelance stuff, it really gets into crazy because you can do freelance stuff and they charge you like employment taxes and stuff. and it just gets ridiculous. Because you get to the point where you're like, why am I even bothering trying to do anything extra? Yeah, I mean, and I agree. Taxes are theft. Some taxes, though, you got to pay taxes to support stuff. But man, some of it's ridiculous. And what they do, at least in Oklahoma, what they'll do is they'll target taxes that either people won't notice, or maybe it's something that's not very well known, or doesn't affect a lot of people. Like one of the things they did here was change the taxes for people to get money off oil revenue. I mean they really jacked it up, like doubled the taxes, and not everybody gets that kind of thing. So a lot of people are like, stick it to them.
Well,
But
yeah,
it's
exactly, yeah. It's they have that for sin taxes where who cares if you don't smoke? How much you charge smokers
yeah.
for their cigarettes?
Yeah,
But,
and like that they justify by going, well, this added health cost. Well, it's like all of us, they're paying their own health bill, I
yeah,
think.
yeah. It's like
I mean,
it
who's
will get you to
paying that?
quit, though. I mean, when cigarettes turn into like you're smoking $1 every time you smoke a cigarette, then yeah, you finally got it up there to where someone will probably quit.
Yeah, what's
Those cigarettes.
crazy? The storyteller said, if you paid for it, you don't need to pay the government more money. I agree with that. In Oklahoma, if you sell a car, you have to pay taxes on it again. The guy at work, my work, just bought a 5-year-old car, and he's paid $700 for a tag.
Jeez.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous. Levy's always vote no. Yes, we're getting ready to come up for a vote in Oklahoma City. Years ago, they started a thing called MAPS. It's something, an improvement plan. And the first one was very spelled out. It's going to do this, this, and this. It paid for like a new arena. We have a professional basketball team now. It paid for a new arena which allowed them to get the basketball team here, but they're now getting ready to do maps 4, and it's so vague on what the money's going for, and it's a one penny sales tax, and so everyone's like, it's only a penny. It's like,
Yeah.
no, it's a penny additional, and it's a well, they say it's a 1 penny, but it's actually 1%, so it's a penny on the dollar.
Yeah.
I'm voting against them. I voted for all the other ones because I thought they were good, because I believe you have to improve. If you live somewhere, you want it to improve.
Yeah.
But
The entire time I lived in
this.
California, I voted no on everything that was like that, but it didn't do any good. What can I tell you?
Yeah, well, it's
I did my
California for
bit.
you, man. You did. They didn't listen to the wisdom of Ellis.
That's right. Well, this
Well,
is
you
going to be
tried,
probably the
dude.
most dynamic moment. This guy's going to come jumping through a window. That's got to be your most dynamic moment. So maybe a little bit of a
There you
Dutch
go.
angle,
There you go.
slightly lower. And just
Well, I'm happy I've made good headway in this panel. So I'm happy with that.
yeah, I've
I
enjoyed
started.
this exploration I've done on this as well. It's like every time you do something, it's like, why didn't I always do things this way? You know, you know.
Well, there was somebody comment on Facebook, and they were saying they were a comic show, and somebody was showing their art, and they told them, we need to work on this and this and this, and they basically told them, hey, I know everything, and this was apparently a fairly young person, basically like, hey, I know everything I need to know. I don't need to learn anything else. I'm as good as I'm ever going to get. It's just like, what? I mean, kind of crazy attitude. Oh, and
Yeah.
I forgot they told him to step off.
You forgot they did what?
they they told him to F off.
Oh, gotcha.
Wait, did you? Well, because they were giving him advice, and their advice wasn't "you're great." They didn't want to hear that. They're
Yeah.
telling him, "Well, you got to work on this and this."
Well, yeah, you know how advice can go. Sometimes it does seem kind of like you just want to tell me how bad I am, or don't you? Don't you?
Well,
And
that's
that is
true.
kind of like some motivation can be like that. And what you have to learn as an artist is that you're going to, you know, ask for input from people that you really want to learn from. Don't put out a blanket call for have a shot at me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, unless you want to take it. I mean,
Yeah. Unless you
well,
unless you
I'm a big
think that
believer.
feedback like that is good, that you'll likely get some good stuff. Because that's what all that would happen to you on most of your little artistic efforts is most people would probably put you down without really trying to.
Yeah.
I can't
I
help it
think you should.
myself. I've got too much art director in me to where I can, I have to watch myself. I don't. It doesn't do any good to tell somebody to, you know,
Oh, it kind of
do
depends
this or
on who it
that.
is and stuff. I will tell you this. I was at work today, and right before I walked out the door, one of the artists turned in this medallion, and it was for a pretty big client, and it had a picture of a German Shepherd on it. And I mean, this is a big deal account, and he drew it off a photo, and I looked at it, and it had this weird, sad look in its face. And I told the guy, I said, "Hey, let me. I told the guys, I go, hey, I'm gonna look at this piece of art, and then I'm gonna go. I need to get out of here." And so I looked at it, and I said, "Well," I said, "I'm not crazy about this." I said, "I think we're gonna talk about this tomorrow." And as I was leaving, I noticed he was not happy with me. I thought, "Oh gosh," but I mean, I think it'll be okay. But I don't, like you say, nobody really likes to be criticized.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, that's part of my job. So,
sure. I mean, yeah.
that,
You're
yeah,
directing
that
a
that
lot
kind
of
of that,
stuff.
yeah, that qualifies as tough. But I mean, I'll be nice. I'm not gonna. It just had an odd look on its face. And if you look at an animal or a drawing of an animal, and you go, it has a look on its face, then something is immediately wrong. You know,
Yeah.
you're doing something. You need to kind of switch it up so it doesn't look like it has a whatever kind of look. An animal shouldn't really. I mean, a drawing of an animal, I don't believe should have a look on it like it's sad or whatever. And that's what this looked like.
Oh,
He kind of drawn the
he tried to put some sort of he put a sadness in it though. I mean, if you were going to draw an animal, you should
no,
draw one happy.
not inten- not intentionally.
Yeah.
That was the thing is he had kind of drawn it where its eye sockets kind of looked like eyebrows that were raised in the middle, which is kind of that's when you're sad or worried you do
Uh
that,
huh.
you know. And so it's like, okay, we need to work on. I mean, it won't take him like 30 seconds to fix it. He just wasn't. He looked at it for an hour and kind of become blind to what it actually looked like. You know.
Let me update you on. It looks like they've got a couple. You know what? I am so tired. I mowed the lawn today and did some stuff. I think I will. They've got two slots left for.
Oh, are you going? Are you doing it?
No, I really am tired, and Rambo doesn't light my fire that much. I'm not going to step up unless they put my name with a question mark.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
say okay, I'll do it. You know what?
Well,
My biggest hit lately on my Russell Goodson one Twitter has been a Frazetta from my Tumblr archive that I I put on Twitter. I've got, let's see how many people have either retweeted that. I got 17 retweets of it, 2 comments on it, and 216 likes on it. And it's just a line drawing of Frazetta taking a photograph of somebody. Here, I'll share the image.
Yeah, share the image. I'm curious what it looks like.
Okay. So this is what it takes to be a big hit. As soon as I get to someplace where I can. Okay. For me, I need to share an image. How do I do that? Share screen. There we go.
You're the host, Ellis.
Yeah. 2 monitors. Share screen.
So Star Storyteller says we could use Critical Peeps and CG because Uncle E is too busy. Art critiques. Yeah, probably. I mean, it's I don't know. Critiquing art is challenging because nobody wants to hear it. Not real. I mean, even when people want advice, I think, but they don't always want critique.
I would
shared it.
Yeah, I would have to be on Chrome apparently to do it.
Oh, what do you on? What's your browser?
I'm on Firefox.
Oh, that's what I use. I like Firefox.
I do too, and
they won't let me use it at work.
What do they insist on Chrome?
Well, I was using Explorer, and then I had trouble with it, and they said, "Oh, you need to use Chrome." And I said, "They said you need to switch to our browser." And I go, "Can I use Firefox?" And they said, "Well, no." And they didn't tell me. I said, "Well, why not?" And they wouldn't tell me why. They were kind of cagey about it.
Yeah.
And I think it's because Chrome will work around all of their internet. Don't look at this. Which I mean, I don't care. I mean, like I'm certain, like I'm barely able to get my work done. Let's surf the web.
Hey, are you?
Did my picture flip?
No, I hope it's still okay. I did. I went the cheap way. Look, I printed it real quick. Now I can just show it on the camera. Can you see?
Oh yeah. I'm kind of waiting for it to show up in the YouTube feed. Hang on, I'm gonna.
Okay.
Unclink this.
Well.
Oh yeah.
Just hang out a bit. It'll
nice.
show up.
I think
yeah. Frazetta, there you go. You draw girls a certain way, and people pay attention to you, and they say, "Give me those Frazetta girls."
Yeah. That looks good.
There's a lot. You could say what he left out. Huh? What's that? Yeah,
I like the ink line.
Yeah. That's totally that flexible nib and brush mastery going on there. It's got a lot of lost line in it.
YouTube. I'm watching on YouTube and it hadn't caught up, Ellis.
Okay.
Or YouTube may be dead.
Well, I'm looking at YouTube. It's dancing around. Looks all right.
Oh, okay. Maybe my YouTube's dead. Something. Anyway, hey, dude, I do kind of need to go though.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you go because I have been so low energy. I just apologize to anybody that ever watches this. I'll talk to you soon, Scott.
Okay, Ellis. I'll talk to you later, man.
Take it easy. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.